What is going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be playing some VTOL VR. This is going to be a tutorial video for the weapon systems, the laser guided, GPS guided, fire and forget, things of that nature. I had a question on Reddit on, making a video about these various systems because they are pretty in-depth for this game. And so I kind of wanted to just go over it today. I'll get in the air right now. We'll start going over everything, kind of hit some ground targets first. We'll hit some ground targets laser guided and GPS guided, things of that nature, and then we'll kind of move to the air-to-air targets. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire up my engines right now. If you've never played this game, I highly recommend it. I was never a jet fighter type of guy or anything like that, but once I started playing this game, it is a blast, let me tell you. So I'm gonna go ahead and taxi to the runway right now. I am playing with rudder pedals, so my stick, if you don't have rudder pedals, your rudders forgot the word, that your rudders are controlled with the twisting of your stick right here. Since I have rudder pedals, I can map them to the rudder pedals and use the stick for pitch and roll and everything like that. So let me go ahead and take off. One thing I do want to mention, we're going to be flying the F-45A today, not the F-A-26 or the new T-55. The T-55 I haven't really flown yet, so I kind of got to get used to that system because they are a little bit different in the way everything works, plane to plane or plane to helicopter. So I got my radar right here, EOTS on the F-45, which is the TGP on the F-A-26. You can see on my radar right there, that is an enemy bogey flying. Basically from my 5 o'clock to my 6 to my 7, around that way. EOTS right here, we can change the sensors day, night, or color, and I'm going to leave it on day because that's where we are. This is my RWR and my nav. Since we are going to just be focusing on air-to-ground targets right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expand this screen so you can kind of get a better picture while watching on YouTube and go from there. So let me take off real quick, and I'm going to bank back around, and we'll start hitting some targets with the air-to-ground missiles and air-to-ground bombs. And power up your radar. Okay, so this is a multiplayer training map. It's like multiplayer training map or something. You can find it on Steam, the Steam Workshop in-game. Download it. It has all types of targets, has carrier landing, things like that. It's a good map to get acclimated to the various weapons and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and arm right now, kind of go over the weapons. Right now we're on GBU-38, GPS bomb, so we have to use a GPS point to launch that. My cannon, which is to that crosshair at the top of the cockpit. That is where the cannon's going to come out or hit once I'm on a target. AGM 145, fire and forget. So optical fire and forget, what that means is we have to use the TGP system to fire those missiles. AGM means air to ground missile. So once we lock onto something and we fire that missile, we can forget about it. It's going to hit the target that we painted with our laser designated system. So I'm going to go ahead and come around the left right here. You can see on the nav that there are targets around the island and in the bay and the ports and everything like that. So we're going to start with the AGM 145. This missile takes 2 button presses to fire. So you'll see when I paint the target on here to get the crosshair on it, I'll lock onto the target. I have to lock on with the trigger. So the trigger of the same stick, so the stick I'm holding, the joystick. Pull the trigger, you're going to hear a tone. As you hear that tone, it's telling you it's locked on. But once you're in range, it'll tell you to fire, and that's when you fire. And I'm playing on a Quest 2 today, so for me to fire, I'm holding the trigger and I'm pushing the B button on my right Oculus controller. So again, you'll hear a tone. Once you're within range, it'll say fire, and you keep holding that trigger, you push the B button, and it'll launch the missile, and we'll kind of go over right now. So we're going to pull around this bay right here. We're going to use the TGP. We're going to SOI it, so it's our screen of interest now. I'm going to kind of cut my throttle a little bit so I'm slower. So now we're screen of interest. We use the stick to guide it around. I can zoom in. Looks like there's a bigger target over here to the right. So the crosshair down there that's moving right now, that's the TGP right here. So you can see it up on your HUD. You can also see it on the GPS as a yellow crosshair. So I just want to kind of get it close to that target. Okay, so there's a bunch of targets right here in the bay. I'm going to zoom in. Those are like tanks. Once I get close, my TGP is going to snap to the target. So it says IFF foe. Once it says like IFF foe, so it's IDing the target as a foe, an enemy, I know I'm locked on. So I'm about 10 miles out. I'm going to pull the trigger.
Shoot.
And you can hear that tone. Okay, so if I was about 15 miles out, 20 miles out, I would still get this tone, but I wouldn't get this shoot notification. So I'm pulling the trigger right now. It's telling me to shoot because I'm in range. And what I'm going to do is while I'm holding that trigger, I'm going to hit the B button. You'll see a missile fly off and basically, there it is to the left. Okay, so now I can go to the next target. Same thing, tone, pull the trigger, push the B button, and fire. So you'll see both of these targets should get hit right now. I'm just going to slow down and keep it on the TGP to watch them. Okay, there's one splash, two splash. So, again, I can fire, I can forget. I don't need to circle, I don't need to go around, I don't need to keep painting the same target. I can move my TGP like I am right now. Again, fire, and then move the next one, especially if I have 8, 10 AGMs. Just keep firing and get those missiles on target. So we're going to bring it back around right now. Same, I'm going to hit the same targets. I'm just going to leave my TGP on them. Now we're going to use the GBU-53, which is an optically guided bomb that is fire and forget also. So again, we're going to have to paint it with the TGP, or the EOTS on this plane. I call it the TGP because the FA-26 is the TGP. But we're going to have to paint it on here, on our EOTS system. Paint the target. Once we get into range and fire this bomb, it is FAF, so fire and forget. Okay, so we're going to fire and forget it. As you can see, once I switch weapons, the different reticles come up. Fire and forget. Bomb. This is the optically guided fire and forget. The GPS bomb will look the same also, but we kind of we designate targets a little bit different. So with this one, you have the big circle and the small circle. When I start approaching my target, you're going to see like a diamond at the top start coming down from the top of the circle. Once it hits that circle, it's going to tell me to shoot. If I can wait and get it closer to the center of the smaller circle, the bomb's going to be more accurate for me. So when I'm approaching these targets again on the bay, you're going to see a diamond come from the top. As I approach, then it'll say shoot, and then on this one, I should be able to just hit the B button on the quest. I don't use these bombs very much. I use more GPS guided. I'll kind of go over why in a little bit, but I'm going to turn back on right now. I'm going to get the gimbal back on target and go from there. So again, we're going to see a diamond. I'm going to paint that target. I'm painted right now on it. I'm going to snap foe. See, there's like a tall triangle at the top of the circles, and that's just guiding me to the line that I want to take toward the target. So I kind of want to keep it as centered as I can because as I approach closer, it's going to keep me on target from there. So as I'm approaching, you see the diamond start falling. Once that diamond hits the first circle, I can launch. I would prefer to launch it a little bit closer in the second circle. That way it gets more accurate. So you're going to see the diamond. You're going to see shoot right now. Shoot. I'm on the GPS target, GPS bomb, or optically guided bomb. Sorry, don't forget I said GPS. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the trigger to open my bay, because this one's internal bay, and then hit the B button.
Shoot.
And you'll hear the bomb drop, I hope. But you'll see them dropping on the 5-4. So I'm basically dropping 4 bombs on the same target. But again, on this, it's fire and forget, so I could go to here and then fire another one. And now I'm going to hit multiple targets, and they should hit like 4 bombs and 2 targets. Or maybe 5 bombs. Apparently I dropped a shitload. Well, you'll see them. They're fire and forget. I don't need to keep painting the targets anymore. There's 1, there's 2, it hit. I didn't even mark the 3rd one, so that's why it didn't hit. But if I had, I could have taken out all the targets. So again, Optically guided bombs or optically guided missiles, you're going to use the TGP to launch them. For the AGM, remember, you're going to pull the trigger. For the AGM 45 air-to-ground missiles, you're going to pull the trigger and then push the B button. On this one, the bombs were internal, so I had to open the bays. So on the F-45, you're going to pull the trigger. You hear the doors open right there. It's letting me know that the doors are open, and then I hit the B button to drop the bomb. So those are your optically guided missiles. Any optically guided missile, fire and forget, things like that, they're all going to be launched that same way. Now I'm going to go to the dumb bomb, the MK82. As you can see, when I switch to it, I have a line right there and a circle with a like a dot in the middle. This is a dumb bomb. I'm going to line up with the target, kind of do a strafing run, and once I get the target within that little reticle down there, I'm going to drop the bomb basically, okay? So this one you just drop with the trigger. You'll see I just dropped one right now. I pulled the trigger only, it drops the bomb. Hopefully it hits where it's supposed to go. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. It's a dumb bomb. It's not accurate at all, and I rarely ever use them. In fact, the team I usually play with, they rarely ever use them. They're not where it's at, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and bomb this. It's giving me that line right there on the target. That's what I want to line up with for the best chance at hitting it. I'm use my rudder pedals a little bit, kind of line up. And again, none of this is scripted, so if I stutter or stumble over my words and stuff, it's because I'm playing, trying to think of what to say, and doing it in game also. So I apologize, it's not as clean as my other videos, but I did want to get this out there to help somebody in the community kind of learn VTOL, because it is such a good game, but I know how daunting it can be to learn the weapons and everything. So I'm going to launch right here, bombs away, and we're going to see if it hits. I doubt it will, but might as well check. There it is, flying in. And it hit. So that's how you do those dumb bombs right there. Objective completed, destroy the ground units. And so now we're going to do GPS guided. GPS guided I use a lot of. I use a lot of AGM 145s, the air-to-ground missiles, for like the tanks and things like that. I don't use many laser guided bombs just because I prefer the GPS guided. I can fire them and forget them. I can have somebody else mark the target for me, give me the GPS coordinates, and then drop the bomb on those GPS coordinates, which is what I like. Especially if we have 4 or 5 people in the air, I can take a bunch of GPS bombs. They can mark targets. I go in, I do the runs, and hit those targets. I don't have to search for them. They're doing all the legwork for me, basically. Not that I'm lazy, but it helps out, especially when you have bunkers and stuff, to just have them paint the targets and come in and hit them all. So we're gonna hit this forward, and I'm going to get rid of my RWR right now. Let's get rid of this. Let's go to radar. TSD. It's called TSD in the F-45. Okay, so I don't have any radar targets other than the air bogey. Sometimes though there are radar blips that pop up, and you can target that way. I'm going to SOI this. I'm going to have to get, for GPS bombs, I need GPS coordinates, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to kind of paint that target, which looks like a radar site or a SAM, somewhere up here. And again, I use the nav, I use the EOTS. It's great to use them all. This is a column of tanks, so GPS bombs probably not going to do too well for them, because if you do a GPS bomb on a moving target, it's a lot tougher to get, because you're going to GPS mark that, right? And that bomb's going to hit where the GPS mark is, but they're going to keep traveling. So for these, probably use AGM like 145. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop in on them. So again, pulling the trigger, hit the B button, switch to the next one. I'll hit the front column, front of the column. 2 missiles inbound, and you'll see them splash on the TGP, and we'll use should be some targets on the hilltop that we're going to use for the GPS bombs. So boom, there's splash 1, and oh, that one missed. Okay, it hit some terrain, it looks like. It looks like I did get 2 of them though. Oh, maybe they did get it, and it's just the one going through. Anyway, let's go to GPS. Okay, so now you see these targets, they did pop up on my radar. So with GPS bombs, I can or GPS missiles, cruise missiles, things like that, I can use either or to kind of get the GPS coordinates, right? So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to get a GPS coordinate on here, and then I'll get a GPS coordinate on here. We're going to go with the radar GPS coordinate first. So what I'm going to do is kind of get close, and I want to, let's just mark, that's a SAM site. I don't know what that is. We're just going to go SAM site. So I'm going to, again, SOI, screen of interest, I'm going to highlight it with the purple, and I'm going to click the right thumbstick. So click it, and you see how it gets that little kind of, it's probably going to be hard to see on YouTube, but it gets a little circle around it. You can kind of see that circle when I move the targeting indicator icon thing away. So I have that marked right now, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit GPS-S. That's going to send me a GPS coordinate. You'll see the GPS coordinate pop up on your nav. You'll see it pop up on the radar. Okay, so now that triangle, which if I look to my left, I got the circle. The circle is my little purple circle around here, and the triangle is the GPS coordinate. Okay, so we're going to use a GPS bomb for this one. Hopefully I have some. Yep, okay, there's GPS bombs. So again, nav, GPS coordinate on here, GPS coordinate on here. If I hit GPS A, that's GPS acquire, GPS send. GPS send is going to send me a GPS coordinate from here. If I hit GPS A acquire, it's going to acquire that coordinate I just marked. So you'll see it pop up right there. Boom. Tracked right to it, okay? So I can either hit it with GPS bombs now, or I can hit it with optically guided bombs. So I hit, again, SOI, mark it on here, click the right thumbstick, the little yellow triangle comes up on here, GPS A acquire, and it'll hit it with the, or it'll come up on my EOTS. So I'm gonna come around, and again, I'll, the GPS is on here. So if I have somebody that sends me 8 different GPS coordinates, it'll all come up on here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send myself one more GPS coordinate as I turn around here. And I'm just gonna drop bombs on both of them. Okay, so we're gonna SOI here, and we're gonna hit another one, GPS-S, so you'll see it pop up on here, second GPS coordinate. Okay, so I'm gonna drop bombs on both these coordinates. Okay, and I have 2 bombs, so that's all I'm gonna be able to hit. Again, GPS acquire, and if I wanted to acquire the other one on my EOTS, go down here, GPS acquire, and it's gonna move around. Okay, so let's go back to the first one, GPS acquire. And that kind of just helps me make sure I hit the target, things like that. Okay, so again, we're gonna line it up right here. I have 2 bombs. That's why I'm only gonna mark 2 targets. If I had more, I'd probably mark more. But I have 2 targets marked, 2 GPS bombs to drop them at. Okay, so as I'm approaching, again, that little triangle at the top is gonna come up on the top of the circle. That's kind of giving me my route I want to take. We're just gonna rudder a little bit to the right. There we go. Okay, we're lined up. And again, once we start getting in range, you're going to see that diamond come down. And you don't have to fly super low on this. You can drop from high up in the air. It'll track, okay? You kind of want to stay away from the small arms flare. So I'm going to cut my throttle. It's going to say shoot right now. Oh, I guess it won't say shoot. Anyway, I see the diamond. I'm going to go ahead and drop a bomb. One bomb drop, and I'm going to switch to my second target. Kind of pan over here. And then I'm going to drop, try to line up a little bit more. And I'm going to drop to my second bomb. Okay, so now I'm out of bombs. We're just going to kind of make sure they hit. And then, okay, there's the first GPS bomb. Boom. And there's the second one coming in. Hopefully you can see it on camera. And boom, splash. So those GPS coordinates are done. I can go ahead and delete this group, and then if I have another group, either buddy at the call sign or whatever, Skyclad God, Super Trooper, the people I play with, I can go to their group, start hitting their targets. Again, the PvE on this game, the co-op is phenomenal. You have to work together, accomplish the mission. Sometimes you have guys that take only air to ground. Sometimes you have guys that take all air to air, things like that. It's a great thing to do. Great game to play with that. So those are the optically guided missiles, bombs. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll use the AIM-9 right now since I have it, and then I'm gonna basically rearm, and I'm gonna rearm with cruise missiles because those are a little bit different too to launch, and we'll kind of go from there. And Then I'll do some AIM-120s I'll have to take too. So again, these AIM-9 Pluses, these are heat-seeking. It's tracking my eyesight right now in the cockpit on the HUD, the circle. So again, you'll hear it as you get closer, and you'll see the shoot icon come up, which is going to kind of hard to see when I'm looking to the right. But you hear the tone, and then the beep, and the shoot right there. So these are heat-seeking. So I'm just going to fire, and they're going to track the heat signature of these jets. So there's one down, same thing. And I'm going to switch to guns because I'm getting close. Okay, so this guy is launching flares. I'm on guns right now. Splashed him. And then go to the next one. Which is down here. But I'm going to leave him up because I don't know if he's going to respawn if I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out now. Alright, we're back after rearming, so I'm going to go ahead and get back in the air right now. On, ETS, TSD. Zoom out a little bit on that. Nav. Zoom out on that. I have the air bogey still. I'm going to go ahead and use AIM-120s on him right now. And oops. So AIM-9s are heat-seeking, AIM-120s are radar-guided missiles for air-to-air. And essentially what we want to do is we want to get that bogey in our radar, lock onto him on the radar, and then fire the missile at him. Once I fire the missile, I want to keep him on my radar signature. It doesn't have to necessarily be the target I'm tracking with my control stick So I'm going to paint the target, fire the missile, and then I can move to the next target. I just want to keep them in my radar range, essentially, because my radar is the missile is using my radar to track the bogey. Once I get a pit bull notification, that missile is now tracking the bogey on its own with its own radar. That's I guess a fix to the missile. But again, I want to keep those bogeys in my radar until I get the pit bull notification, and then I can do whatever I need to do. If I break too early, like let's say I get tracked by a SAM and I break off and lose radar, I fly behind a mountain or take evasive maneuvers and lose the radar signature of that bogey, then I can potentially miss with that AIM-9 missile. And the AIM-9 missile can also miss too with their evasive maneuvers and things like that. So again, just because you fired a bogey doesn't mean you're going to hit it. Just because you fired a ground target doesn't mean you're going to hit it. Could be terrain, could be slightly off target, the GPS coordinate could be off, things like that. So with this, I'm going to SO. Oops, I totally didn't mean to do that, but I'll SOI over here. So now I'm going to let him get a little range on me and cut my throttle. So again, squares, ground targets, the bogey is a little triangle with like a post coming out. The post coming out telling me the direction that they're traveling. I can highlight them and get all the info. It's an ASF 30. Altitude's about 8,000 feet. Their Mach is 63. They're obviously turning left to my left right now to my like 11 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm SOI'd on this. I use the little purple lines with the dot, highlight them, I click once on the F-45, I can click. So now I know I'm locked onto him right there. I am locked onto that bogey because I can tell by the circle highlighting him, right? So I'm going to let him kind of get a little range on me. If you notice, I'm locked onto him, but I'm not getting any tone, I'm not getting any notification that he's in range to fire my missiles because I'm on a GPS bomb. So what I want to do is I want to switch to my AIM-120s. Right when I switch to them, I get the shoot notification, right? So I could shoot right here and the missile could track. I'm going to kind of get him in my line of sight once I give him some room. I want to kind of, when I fire, I don't want it to go pit bull right away. I want to give it a chance to track and then go to pit bull. That way you can hear the different indicators or notifications. And I know I'm going a little bit quick through all the weapons and everything, but I don't want to, shoot an hour and a half video because everybody's gonna get bored watching it. For certain parts, I would just probably rewind, pause, rewind, or whatever, or pause the video, run through it on your headset, how to do the whatever I just talked about, and then, as you can see, I just lost him on radar, and then play again, do the next weapon, things like that, until you get the hang of them.
Shoot.
So now I'm locked onto him. Okay, I'm locked on. I'm getting the shoot indicator. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot. On this one, I am just gonna pull the trigger, and you'll see the missile fly off. Really, there's not a ton of weapons that need you to pull the trigger and then hit the B button. The AGM 145s, you do. The bombs, when they're internal, you will need to, because you have to open that bay. This one, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the trigger, and you'll see the missile fly. So now it's tracking. Missile is gonna. Okay, I just got the pitbull notification. Fire again. Pitbull again. So now they're both tracking him on, and I can break off. Hopefully that bogey goes down. I'll know if he gets hit on my radar or see him splash in the air. Okay, boom. He just got hit. He's going down. The next missile is just gonna take care of him for good, and he's gone. So that's that. Fighters are down. Now we're gonna go to the cruise missiles. I have 4 cruise missiles. I'm gonna go ahead and mark like 4 targets right below me. I'm gonna fly off, give it some distance, and then launch the cruise missiles, and we'll watch them come in from there. With the cruise missiles, you can either get your GPS coordinates from the radar if the target's showing up on your radar, or you can use your TGP. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one with TGP, and I'll show you the difference of what it looks like on the GPS coordinates. I'm going to bring it around. Let's go forward. I am screen of interest on it. Throttle. Okay, so now I got my TGP up. I'm going to go ahead and paint the target real quick. There's the target right there. I'm going to hit GPS S. You should see it come up on here on my GPS screen. And it says TGP. That means I got the GPS coordinate from my TGP. If I SOI right here, let's zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to mark another target right here. So you'll see it pop up. So now it's marking that target down there. And I hit GPS send. It's going to say TSD. That means I got it from my radar. So TGP is a laser guided designation GPS coordinate, and TSD is from the radar system. So if, let's say I'm painting the targets for my wingman, right? And he has all the air-to-ground missiles or air-to-ground bombs, bunker busters, things like that. I can mark all the bunkers with the TGP. When he pulls up my group that I send him, I can either split the group, do a new group, whatever the case may be. But let's just say I send 12 targets on the group. And he's like, okay, which ones are the bunkers that you need me to hit first? I can tell him, okay, all the TGP ones I need you to hit. Then he can scroll through the list and hit all the TGP ones with his bombs. TSD can be the SAM sites, things like that, because they're giving off a radar signature. So I'm going to come back around again. I'm going to mark another one. Oops, I lost it right now. That's why it's going away. Oh, because it's moving. So let's get these. Let's just hit these ones. So there's another one. I'm going to hit GPS S. Oops. Should have been that. Let's go GPS acquire. And let's just mark another one right here. Hit GPS. Oh, wrong button. GPS S is what I want to hit. GPS S. Now I have 4 targets, 2 TGP and 2 TSD. And again, I can scroll through them if there's a certain target I want to hit. And you'll see it change the little highlighted triangle. And you'll see it change on the nav too. So see it changing right there. That's changing my targets. And I'll kind of get a better look at what it looks like on your HUD too. So you can see the targets changing. The triangle gets like highlighted, or like a double triangle basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly off. We're going to launch some cruise missiles, which I like, and hopefully hit those GPS coordinates. The good thing about cruise missiles are you can launch them from a very long way away. I don't know what the exact stats are on all these weapons with the distance you can fire them and everything. From my own experience, I know the GPS cruise missiles, depending on your altitude and things like that, I'd say 40 to 50 nautical miles is what I can get usually. The AGM 145s and the optically guided air-to-ground missiles I can usually get within like 12 nautical miles or so. Bombs are dependent on your altitude and that circle and the diamond dropping. So, I mean, the higher you go, the further you can theoretically drop. Same thing with, like, I guess the laser-guided bombs. Your AIM 120s, I would say a good rule of thumb is this green, which I think that's what it's for, actually, but I don't know. Honestly, like, I don't study jets or anything like that, and I never even really played jet games before this. But the green, if that air bogey's within that green, you're generally locked on and ready to fire. You'll get the shoot indication on the AIM 120 missiles. So I'm going to, and let's see. How far am I from these? You know what? I'm about 13 miles out. Okay. So I'm going to give it like 20. And again, I'm locked onto those targets on the roof, or on the mountaintop, I guess. I'm about 14 miles out. I'm going to turn around about 20 and then launch these GPS guided missiles. So again, we're on cruise missiles. We're going to use the GPS coordinates on the GPS screen right here. I got to kind of get into line of sight with these.
Shoot.
And you'll see it popped up. So like if I'm right here, it's not going to tell me shoot. Once I pull my nose up, get that circle kind of near the targets, it'll say shoot.
Shoot.
Shoot right there. So I'm going to launch. One missile away. Scroll to the next target. Same thing, shoots up. My afterburners are on. Shoot. Next target.
Shoot.
Shoot. Okay, just fired. And last target. Shoot. And now I'm out of cruise missiles, so I can no longer use the GPS coordinates. So those 4 GPS coordinates are in. I'm going to slow down. The cruise missiles are kind of slow. They do travel a lot further than other missiles, but again, they're pretty slow with getting to the target. But you can see them off to my left right there. And you can see I'm cutting my throttle pretty drastically. I'm at 330 knots right now, and they're barely catching up to me. And they should be passing me soon at least. So I hit the night sensor on accident. We're going to go to day. This one should be getting hit by one of the cruise missiles, so I'm just going to leave it on there. So you see the 4 missiles, the 4 cruise missiles kind of dropping in right there. You'll see it hit it. Boom. 1. That was actually 2 explosions. 3 right there, and then the 4th one right there on the other GPS coordinate should hit. Boom. And yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna RTB, and those are the general ways to use the weapons, and various ways to get like GPS coordinates and things like that. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you find it beneficial. If there's any more questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and do like a follow-up video of whatever questions you may have, or whatever other details need to be explained. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. As always, slow is smooth, smooth is fast.